Josh, welcome to the show, man.
Papa Day, buenas, Chalu. Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you. It's been years since we've been in touch, and we were just chatting a little bit earlier too, just how things have really changed and kind of what brought you back to Guam. So, first thing I want to say is welcome to the show. We'll just kind of go through the questions and kind of listen to what you got going on. So, first question is, what are some things that you find interesting?
One thing I find interesting now that I work at a nonprofit, local nonprofit called Guåhan Sustainable Culture, we have a 50-acre farm slash food forest on the property, and I get the opportunity to lead community members on tours through our fruit forest, where it just has like some of the most mature fruit trees on the island, some things you don't see anywhere else. And what I love about being in nature and getting to talk and work in agriculture is the knowledge exchange that happens. I'm always very clear when I bring people into the forest that this isn't just a one-way knowledge download. It's an exchange,
Mhm.
understanding that other people know so many other things that that I'm excited to learn about. So I never feel any kind of like shame or qualm when someone asks me something and I'm like, I genuinely don't know what that plant is called or what it does
Yeah.
or any of those things, because all of that, everything I don't know is just an opportunity to learn. And
Mhm.
agriculture is like this really cool space where there is so much to know, and like individually we can only hold so much knowledge, but together collectively we can learn and know a lot. So
Mhm.
that's what I love about agriculture and plants, is that there's just like an endless amount of things that you can learn, and I find that just so interesting. And I think it really does connect people to the earth, like through
Mhm.
agriculture, knowing how to grow your own food, where your food comes from. Um, and yeah, it's just one of the most empowering ways one can connect with the land is through agriculture, and the possibilities and the potential is just endless in terms of what you can gain from that. And I just find
Yeah.
that super interesting.
No, that's really cool to hear. It's nice that as far as like the knowledge part, right, where you don't try to kind of front and pretend you know it all, and that you are open to these opportunities to learn something, whether it's like the name of a plant or just whatever it might be. It's kind of like, you know, the difference between like up to kind of get a little like corny and stuff, but plant being like in a pot, right? And just only being limited to that space versus being out, in the jungle where it's more expansive and like everybody gets to kind of like contribute to that, right? Like you said, like it's one big, like kind of like wealth of knowledge, right? With everybody. So it's a collective. And I think I think that's super cool. What was the name of the place you're working for? You said it was Guahan Sustainability?
Guåhan Sustainable Culture. It's a
Sustainable
nonprofit
culture.
that formed back in 2019. And
Hmm.
it started off with a few just community workshops, planting workshops, and it has since grown to include so many things. So GSC, our mission is to promote food sovereignty for the island of Guam, which is food sovereignty is about it's when a community has the power to control its own food systems. You've probably heard the statistic that 90% of the food eaten on Guam is imported, and which is a shocking kind of number, and a dangerous
Yeah.
number when you think about all like the geopolitical, economic turmoil going on in the world
Mhm.
today. Having the ability to grow more of your own food is a
Mhm.
form of true security. And when you think about our ancestors, the Chamorro people, like if you identify as Chamorro somewhere in your lineage, your family were farmers or fishermen, or or
Mhm.
connected to land and sea in very fundamental ways. And I'm also an organizer with Independent Guahan, and I always remind people that whenever whether or not the rest of the world ever recognized it, our ancestors were
Mhm.
free and independent here for thousands of years. And during that time, we were food sovereign, meaning that everything we ate came directly from the land, from the sea. And
Mhm.
colonialism, for through so many different ways, has fundamentally changed that. Where now the Chamorro people who used to be food sovereign are now 90% food dependent on food coming
Dependent.
in on ships. And so the
Mhm.
work that GSC, Guåhan Sustainable Culture, does is trying to really beat back that number by we do a lot of youth education work, teaching kids about what grows here, having them
Mhm.
try things that they've probably never tried before. A lot of community workshops trying to, bring up more backyard growers, and a
Mhm.
lot of direct support for local farmers as well. So we're trying to bring up the local agriculture industry. The property that I was talking about, and I don't know if you've ever been, the old Hamamoto Fruit World property in Windward Hills, Zotnya. I
I've
don't know if
seen the
you,
sign because I've lived in Woodward Hills like a number of years, but and like ran
yeah.
past it. I've never been though. But is that so that's where you're mainly based out of?
Yeah, so that place opened up in the 1990s as Hamamoto Fruit World, and it was like an
Mhm.
agro-tourism sort of destination where off-island visitors would, take the bus down to Zotnya, and Mr.
Mhm.
Hamamoto would like lead them through the forest. They would like taste different things, and it was a whole like native fruit or local
Experience
fruit
and
experience. Yeah, he had
mhm.
like a trolley that he pulled with a tractor, like and he would take people on tours on this little thing.
Mhm.
But anyways, back in 2020 three, 24, there was a group of military housing developers that were trying to acquire the property and turn it into military housing, which would have involved a whole lot of paving over and erasing so much of the abundance that
Mm.
one was already there, and two that Mr.
Mhm.
Hamamoto had spent decades cultivating. And just given GSC's mission, that was not something that that organization could sit with. So they made the move to acquire the property, and now we're turning it into what we're calling a food resiliency hub. It's a 50-acre property and a space for us to really host all our different youth education programs, our community
Yeah.
workshops, provide direct support to local farmers. And it's got some existing infrastructure on there. We're going to be refurbishing our community kitchen. It's a commercial scale community kitchen, so that way farmers have a place to come and aggregate their produce. Or if you're a local food
Mhm.
entrepreneur, you're making, your donnies and your hot sauces. You don't have to buy all that expensive kitchen equipment. You can come be a member of our kitchen, have access to everything in there, make your product, bring it to market at a more accessible price or a more profitable price for you, the entrepreneur. We're doing a
Mhm.
lot of really cool things there, and it's kind of like our center of operations. And it's a really special and magical place. The next time you come home, you got to come visit.
Yeah, dude, that's insane that you guys are so involved in because I like what you said about one with like the local farmers like supporting them right in a multitude of ways, but it's the generation, after us that I'm also very impressed by that you guys are really looking out for everybody, whether it's
Yeah.
the old, it's the young, it's everybody's included. And if you, can kind of get behind that vision, it's a place for you. It's cool that for something that's only you said 2019, right, is when it started,
Mhm, mhm,
GSC. So for something
mhm.
that's, not even a decade old, like it sounds like you guys have just so much work that have you guys have done, and especially acquiring the land back in 23. Like, dude, that's awesome. Um, how many like people are involved in the organization?
So our team is growing somewhat rapidly. We've been working with
Mhm.
about 9 or 10 folks for the year that I've been a member of the team, and we just hired another 3 people. We just got a very big 3-year grant that allowed us to hire 3 people and train a cohort of farmers to cultivate a 5-acre section of our property and focusing on traditional crops. So you think things that the Chamorros brought here with them, sweet
Mhm.
potato, lemai, things like that. Suni, right? Taro
Mhm.
plants, things like that. So our team is growing rapidly, and when we get our commercial grade community cooperative kitchen. When we get
It's
that
a
online
long
later this
title.
year,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so many things. It's trying to hold so many different things. But when we
Mhm.
get that kitchen online later this year, we'll be hiring a couple folks for that as well. So, yeah, I mean, the GSE has grown so fast and so quickly since 2019, which to me speaks to just the critical need to do community work in this space to connect people to the land through agriculture, whether you're a commercial scale farmer or just a casual backyard grower. Each and
Mhm,
every one of us has capacity to contribute to the work of localizing our food economy. Because when you think about it, when you're buying imported food, you're sending money out of your community to go, buy from a farmer somewhere
mhm,
else, to bring that food in. And the more we can do to support our local farmers to eat locally and source our food locally, that helps retain wealth within the community, which helps
mhm.
build up our own strength and our own resiliency. So yeah, the fact that GSC has grown so quickly, so fast, I think speaks to the critical need to make those kinds of investments for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely the need to do these things, but also just the fact that people care so much about it, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's kind of like set your house in order kind of thing, right? And Guam's always going to be home for us,
Hmm.
whether you're, out in the States like I am or back home, right? Like you are. It's like there's always a way that you can stay connected. And I think that it's really cool that you guys got that grant to hire the 3 people and then, hopefully getting more. So what's the roster now? Like if it's so you guys just hired 3 people. There's
Hmm.
obviously you. How many other people are there?
So we got 13 total. We have obviously I'm a co-executive director alongside Michelle Crisostomo, one of our co-founders. So we're a team. We have a youth education team. I've been an organizer long enough to know that the work that we are a part of is a generational struggle. So if you really want to make an
Mhm.
impact on supporting food security, you have to be engaging with the youth because they're the ones that are going to be picking up this work, after our time is
Yeah.
done. And so, we're making that generational investment. Then we have a team of cultivators, of growers, of farmers who help care for the 50-acre property, as well as 2 community gardens that we also care for. Maybe you remember the community garden across the post office in Hagatnya. That's one that we care for, and then
Mm,
up in
mhm.
Dedido, by the pool at the sports complex. So those are the three
Oh, okay.
spots that we're growing in. And yeah, we have different program leaders for the different things that we offer. We have a hunting program that we're doing. We have a very
Oh,
popular
wow.
composting program. Yeah, we're trying to like tackle food security and sustainability
Mhm.
through all of the different ways at GSC. So yeah, we're
Man,
doing some cool
that's
work.
kinda sounds like that one-stop shop. It's cool too. I think it's cool that, a lot of what you're doing really kind of bleeds into because you also had mentioned that you do some stuff with, Independent Guåhan, right? And
Yes,
so just the
yes.
fact that, both these things are really about and I don't know much about, either, so thanks for shedding light on the GSC side and then hopefully the Independent Guåhan side, but it's cool that a lot of what you're doing kind of lines up right with that same central mission of like let's be independent, let's kind of take matters and kind of our future in our own hands. And I think that's
Hmm.
awesome. It's the youth part, the stuff that you guys do with the youth, in terms of like kind of showing them kind of how why we're doing certain things. That's what really gets me because it fascinates me because I remember growing up, you because Guam's so small, right? I remember thinking Tumon was like Hollywood, right? Especially like
Hmm.
online or like on TV and stuff. Like the states always seemed like some like far and away kind of place, right?
Hmm.
And it almost felt like, for at least for me growing up, and it could just be my own like upbringing and things like that, or my own internal battles, but it really felt like a lot of what could happen, whether it's like from a sustainability standpoint or like an independent thing, it was for other people, right? It was
Hmm.
for kind of stateside or, because you hear about like the years ago was like the whole like farm to table stuff. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
yeah, we have a little bit of that on Guam, but that's more of like a stateside thing of like the big, kind of nationwide farmers sort of things. And
Hmm.
it's really cool though to see because the work you're doing with the youth, it sounds like you're really shifting that paradigm for them, right? Of like, no, like you have the power to take care of the land. You have the power to take care of, the community. And at
Mhm.
such a young age, it's great that you guys are really setting them up for success. Or like you said, they're the ones that are going to pick up where you guys leave off. So, man, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and not to over romanticize it, but yeah, we do
Mhm.
do 3 field trips a week. We bring in elementary and middle school age kids, and we end every tour with a food tasting, a fruit sampling. We'll harvest
Oh,
stuff from the
nice.
forest, and they'll get to try stuff. And one of the most like special parts of that work is getting to see like the look in a kid's eyes when they try
Mhm.
a fruit that they've never had before, and they're just like, this
Yeah.
is amazing. I've been sleeping on this. This grows here? Like what?
Yeah.
And like in a group of 60 kids, the majority of them are just on a field trip. They're happy to not be in school. They're happy to
In
be
school. Yeah.
outside. They're
Mhm.
happy to be doing something else. But in every group of kids, there's always a few. You always hope for a few that, maybe this becomes a core memory for them. Maybe this like
Mhm.
pivots their life path in a way where they'll always remember that one field trip they made to the Food Resiliency Hub. And now they want to grow all the things in their backyard kind of a thing, or they
Mhm.
want to become a farmer. They want to work in agriculture. So
Yeah.
that's those are the kids you do it for, the people that are really going to really internalize the gift that is local agriculture and getting to connect to the land in that way. And yeah, like you were saying earlier, the work I do at GSC just syncs up so well with the organizing we do at Independent Guahan, because just knowing where your food comes from and how to grow your own food is one of the
Mhm.
most purest forms of sovereignty that one person can have. Like you're literally gifting people the gift of sovereignty when you give
Yeah.
them the capacity or the knowledge to grow their own food. It really
Yeah.
changes your perspective um, in terms of what we're capable of. And at
Mhm.
Independent Guahan, what we're always trying to do is frame a sovereign future for the island that people can see themselves in. And I think so many of the challenges that our people face is that it's hard to see ourselves in a independent Guahan. But food security, food sovereignty is a critical piece of that puzzle, because when people have that
Mhm.
knowledge and that capacity, it's easier for them to see themselves in a independent future. And so it ties together so well.
Yeah, it's like that saying, you can give a man a fish, feed him for a day. We teach a man to fish, right? Feed him for a lifetime. I
Exactly.
think that's how it goes, right? But it,
Exactly.
it
Yep,
it
that's it.
really
That's
lines up
it.
with what you're doing. So, dude, right on, man. That
Yeah.
is that is some awesome work. So we had chatted a little bit, off camera. You had mentioned that about I think it was like a year after high school, you'd moved out of the States, right? And then back in February 24, which is your 2-year anniversary, like you said, you moved back home.
hmm
Have you always been into like agriculture or into sort of like just being outside or things like that?
Well, I always loved being outdoors. My
Mhm.
grandpa on my mom's side was a lechero, and but he mostly worked with animals. And when I was growing up in Saipan, I lived on my grandpa's ranch, and so every day before school was like go move the cows, go feed the pigs, and feed the
Mhm.
chickens, and so tend to the
Yeah.
animals, right? That was always my thing growing up there. As I got older, interests change. You're a kid, right? And so
Yeah.
I kind of grew away from that side of agriculture, and have done a little bit of work around sustainability in college and conservation, but nothing too deep. So to
Mhm.
be honest, in like the year or so that I've been at GSC is really when I've learned the bulk of what I know. And I'm young enough, we're both young enough to say that I've been in school the majority of my life. And so I
Yeah.
love being a student. I love showing up with an open mind and a critical mind and trying to like
Mhm.
learn and gain as much as I can. Um, and so yeah, it's a really funny thing, because while so much of what I the so while so much of the agricultural knowledge that I hold now is somewhat new to me, it also feels
Mhm.
old in a way. Just a
Mm.
side story, I was at in Gepagu, or I was at Gepagu last year, and we were weaving a roof to go over the hotnu, which is the traditional
Mhm.
Chamorro stone oven. And I've never thatched a roof before, but as I was working on it, like I got into this flow state where I was like, I feel like I've done this before. Like some part of my
Mhm.
bones, soul feels like I've done this before. And I get the
Yeah.
same sensation when I'm working in the dirt, planting, harvesting. Like I've never done this before working at GSC, but there's some part of it that feels eerily familiar. Like it's
It's
in,
like a
it's in our
remembering
bones.
than a
Yeah, it's in
learning.
our, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like
So
that.
in a way, it's new to me, but in another way, I'm coming back to what I already
Full
knew
circle,
from my
right?
ancestral lineage. Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
full circle.
Nice, dude. It's yeah, it's it's coming back home, right? Physically, right, back to the island, but then also to just with like literally your roots, right? As I
Hmm.
think that's probably like the third like agriculture pun that I've dropped so far, but
We have a lot of good
ultimately
ones.
the point, yeah, the point remains, you know what I mean? It's awesome that coming back home and you found yourself at a point in your life where you did want to contribute and really kind of go down this path. Talk to
Hmm.
me a little bit more though about independent Guahan.
Yeah, so 2026 Independent Guahan is celebrating 10 years of education, engagement, empowerment,
Mhm,
movement building within the community. So Independent Guahan is the community body of the Independence Task Force. So within the government of Guam, there's the Commission on Decolonization, which is tasked
mhm,
with educating the community about what our status options are and facilitating a vote to decide what political future we want for the island. And so there's a statehood task force, there's a free association task force, and there's the independence task force. Um, and when these entities were stood up, um, Independent Guahan had a whole movement, a whole community of people that wanted to support the work of the task force in making the case to the people about why
mhm,
independence is the best political future for Guahan. We are the most active task force. We are the most engaged. We show up at all the community events. We're always out there in
uh-huh,
the community. Every task force is given a small bucket of money to do programming for the community, create events, to create educational materials. And we're the only ones that actively spend and use that money to its fullest potential
mm,
to make the
mhm,
case to the people about why this is important. And so that's really what it is. We are a group of unpaid volunteers with full-time jobs, lives, families, friends, other communities of work that we belong to, and yet we
mhm,
still contribute what capacity we have to organizing for independence. And so I am a Kulu member of Independent Guahan, which is just the main group of organizers that support the task force in doing this organizing work.
mhm.
And I've been a member since November of 24. Um, and it's just I love it. It's like one of the most,
Yeah,
it's exactly what I came home to do. And in so many different ways, I am living the dream that I set out in coming back home. And getting to organize with Independent Guahan is one of the biggest parts of that, if not the biggest parts of that. It's one of the most rewarding things that I get to do and contribute to. Yeah.
man, that's amazing. Were you already working at GSC prior to joining independent Guahan?
No, so I joined Independent Guahan November of 24, and then
Mhm.
GSE hired me February of 25. So right after
Oh,
the
okay.
elections in 24, I
Mhm,
got to I fell into these two things. When I first came home, I didn't really have a job, but I just randomly got connected to someone named Angela Santos at a Marianas for Palestine event, and Angela
mhm,
Santos is the youngest sister of Si Funtu, Angel Santos Ongit, who was a former
uh-huh,
senator, ran for governor, longtime community organizer and activist for the rights of the Chamorro people, founder of Nashon Chamorro, which did a lot of that organizing work back in the 80s and 90s. And so someone that in my adult life came to really respect and admire and look up to. And so I met his youngest sister, Angela, and she was also deeply rooted in community work and community service, and she was running for senator in
Mhm.
2024. And I joined her campaign as her campaign manager, and every day just like spent with her going out to community events, putting up signs, making the case to the people about why we need a true champion for the Chamorro people in the
Mhm.
legislature. And unfortunately, she did not win that election, but all things happen for a reason. And
Yeah.
her unfortunately not winning that cycle gave me the opportunity to do deep work with independent Guåhan and to join Guåhan Sustainable Culture. And just as of last month, became co-executive director. So like all the right things are falling into place, at least for me.
Yeah. Dude, that is awesome. Yeah, I know Angela from actually my dad. I know they were really close, and we would always I remember I think it was probably like maybe middle school years, but we would always go up to like kind of like Oka area.
Uh-huh.
And like there was this development near I forgot exactly where honestly, but they were basically like they had this whole property that we were just cleaning out like the old buildings and stuff and
Uh-huh.
really clearing house. And I remember we'd go with my dad on the weekends and we'd go there like all the time and I'd always see Angela and even as an adult, anytime I would see her, she would always like she still remembered me and she'd always like say
Oh,
hi
that's
and
so
she's the
sweet.
sweetest dude. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love how
So
Guam is that small where like, you
yeah,
have so many mutuals,
so
known and
connected.
unknown. It's so
Mhm.
connected. It's really,
Yeah.
really special. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that's awesome that you got to work with her for that long. And yeah, like you said, as unfortunate as it was that she didn't, win that election, it at least led you down that path or opened that door. It sounds like to the work you're currently doing. So, man,
Hmm.
right on, right on,
Yeah.
dude. So, talk to me now about your climbing adventure. That's something that my kind of rejoining of social media and just seeing what you've been up to, it's something that blows my mind. When did you first get into climbing or bouldering, I should say?
Yeah, so climbing is probably one of the most Portland things about me. That's where I
Mhm.
that's where I lived when I was
Mhm.
in America. Um I first started climbing in 2015. I had an on-campus job when I was an undergrad student working at the campus recreation center. They opened a brand new facility in 2015 over the summer, and it had a rock climbing wall in it. So part of my flow was I would work my shift, do a little workout, and then go climb for a little bit. And when I started climbing in 2015, it was just a casual hobby, something I liked
Mhm.
to do. But after I graduated and got a membership at a gym on my own, it just kind of became a lifestyle, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It became a lifestyle thing for me. And it's I just enjoy it so much. It's a total body workout. It's a mind puzzle. The
Mhm.
community is always solid. No one is having a bad time in a climbing gym. Like perfect
Yeah, you're not
strangers are just talking
crying,
to each other.
sad, just
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
No one's frustrated. No one's mad. Like it's
Mhm.
always good vibes in the climbing gyms that I have been a part of. And so
Mhm.
that's what I really love about it. It helps train your body, it helps train your mind, and it puts you in community with like really awesome people. Like, some random strangers will be cheering you on as you're trying like a really hard problem, and then you strike up a conversation, and so many friendships just unfold from there.
Yeah.
It's really like, ironically, more puns, it's one of the most grounding things I have in my life. Like when I get stressed out with work or I'm just feeling really
Mhm.
tired and burnt out, I'm like, I need to go climbing. I need my medicine,
Yeah.
It's like I
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
be
yeah.
around good people, good vibes, and just try hard and try to figure out these puzzles on the wall. So it's like
Mhm.
really like a safe space for me. It's my grounding. It's what I come back to when things get hard and hectic. It just
Yeah.
keeps my mind straight.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I think the climbing just movement has really taken the world by storm. Let me ask you,
Mm-hmm.
are you scared of heights?
I'm not scared of heights, but I don't get the same thrill that other climbers get on like big
Mm,
wall outdoor type climbing. I'm a
Mhm.
boulderer. I like
Yeah.
I like being somewhat close to the ground. Give me 10, 15, 20 feet tall with a crash
Mhm.
pad. That's where I like to be. And I
Yeah.
am in this weird generation where I'm of the generation of climbers that started climbing indoors. So I didn't really, do much or really anything in the outdoor climbing world. My
Mhm.
my my origin was really the indoor climbing scene and all the different gyms that have been popping up over recent years. Um, but I'm still pretty young, and so trying to feel
Who's to
feel that
say?
out.
Who's to
Who's to say?
say? Yeah, yeah.
I guess it's
What do you
never too
call it?
late, but
Yeah, for sure. Have you, speaking of climbing outdoors and stuff like that, did you
Mhm.
see Alex Honnold's Taipei 101 climb on Netflix?
I did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude,
That was
that
wild.
was nerve-wracking, man. I saw like most people heard of Alex Honnold through the Free Solo
Hmm.
documentary.
Hmm.
And dude, I thought that was amazing. I thought just the level of like focus and dedication and things like that is insane. And it really inspired me to like try to get into something. At least at that time though, I didn't get in anything like that, like focused, but last year on my birthday, we went to a local bouldering gym, and
Ooh,
I like my older brother Leo, he got into it several years ago. His youngest son is Isaiah is insane at it and like works
I
at a
bet.
local gym. They're in Cali, but works at like a local gym and just kind of does the paths or whatever they're called, right? And
Hmm.
just the looking at it right from like the outside in, it looks nuts. And then I tried it last year, right? My wife Jazz, she did a little trial for us, and dude, it's no joke. I've been working out, semi seriously for the last several years since, like probably sophomore year of high school,
Hmm.
and it's nothing like I've ever felt. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
the like over the last several years I've gotten like really into just kind of like hanging more and doing more pull-ups and just kind of like, developing like grip strength and form strength, all that stuff. But
Hmm.
dude, so cooked afterwards, man. It is like one session, and on top of that, I was doing the like V, because I think the lowest is like even V0, right? Or
Hmm.
something like that. And
Yeah.
so I was doing that and still had a hard time. I'm deathly afraid of heights. So that's why I asked you.
Hmm.
So when I was doing it, I was like, this is something that I'm very fascinated by. I don't know if it's for me though. You know what I mean? I wish the only thing for me is I wish I could just climb laterally instead of vertically,
Traverse.
because
Yeah,
even
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, because even though you're saying, like 10, 15, 20 feet or whatever it is, right, with the crash pad,
Hmm.
dude, I can't, man. I cannot. I'm probably like maybe like 5 feet in the air, and I'm looking down. I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm coming back down. And I've seen people just like hang with like one hand and then just drop. I'm like, bro,
Hmm.
I, that's, you're built differently. Props to you. So,
I will
dude,
say though,
that's
I mean,
nuts.
if there was ever a desire on your part to conquer that fear, climbing is
Yeah,
what's going to help you do it. Like
I've
you want
heard.
to get
I've
over
heard.
your fear
Yes.
of heights, that'll help you do it. And just like
Yeah.
knowing you and like seeing you now, like I think you're built for climbing. I think you would be like so solid if you really applied yourself to it.
It's only because I'm
I think you
standing
would
up,
be.
though. Yeah.
I mean, you got long arms though. You're pretty
Yeah.
tall homie. You got
Yeah.
good reach. Yeah. And so, moving back home, I was very fortunate that Guam has a climbing gym now that's about
Mm.
2 going on 3 years old. So I had a community to come home to in a way, and
Oh, nice.
I'm a part of the national climbing team here, and helping trying to bring up our climbing community. Because a lot of the folks who are climbing here on Guåhan now only started climbing when the gym opened, 2 going on 3 years ago, and so a lot of the quote unquote higher level climbers are folks like me who have climbing experience elsewhere that we brought
Elsewhere.
home with us.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, it's really beautiful to see how quickly the community has grown, and how many new people are trying climbing for the very first time in the last couple
Mhm.
years. Like I, whenever I'm out in community, I'm always preaching the holy gospel of let's go climbing, to all these first timers or people that have never, tried it before. And I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
like I got a guest pass. Like you want to come sesh sometime? Like pick a day.
check it out.
Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, dude, that is awesome. It's for me, just hearing all of this, it sounds like a lot of what you're doing is really trying to put Guam's name on the map, right? Be it climbing, be it, GSC, be it, independent Guan. Like you're really a
Hmm,
lot really lines up if you think about it. And I think that's amazing. I will
that's
say though,
interesting.
I did see on your Instagram, there was a video you posted and it was because I was doing my research right for
Oh,
this interview, plus also to catch up.
you're
But
on
I saw a
Evans
video of you.
research.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I saw a video of you doing. I think you captioned it as like a bat hang or something, but you were
Mm-hmm.
like you were upside down on like your feet. I don't even know how to
Yeah.
like explain it, but and then you just full on like folded up and like did a whole like you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
dude, that's clearly you've been climbing since 2015. I don't think that's like a I just started kind of move, but bro,
My
that's
my toe hooking
insane.
ability is pretty strong. I do enjoy a good toe hook. It's when you're using the top side of your foot and then you're locking in, your ankle and you're just like
Mm,
kind of hanging like that. That's a bat hang. But yeah, that's one of
that's
my favorite like
nuts.
moves. If I can work that into a climb or figure out how to climb something with that
Uh,
technique, I always love throwing in a good toe hook or bat hang whenever I can. So whenever they're
yeah.
setting new climbs on the wall, I was like, can we get a bat hang on this next
Hey, can
set?
we just
Like,
real
please.
quick just
Can
throw
we
one
just real
in?
quick, can we
Yeah.
set like a bat hang? Because we haven't had one in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. No, speaking of toe hooks, my wife, because she's like half Filipina,
Hmm.
crazy like toe strength. You know what I mean? She just picks
Oh yeah,
stuff up
yeah.
like the Filipinos do and stuff like that. So it just when you said toe hook, that's exactly what it reminded me of, where she could just like the not to out her, but and I'm sure a lot of like Filipinos can relate, right? But it's the picking up of like the toes and stuff with things with your
Yeah.
toes, like it's nuts, dude. Just the kind of ability to do that.
Well, yeah,
Man,
I've often thought, one of the reasons I think that Chamorros and Filipinos are like really primed to be like excellent climbers is because we wear
mm,
Zori all the time. Our toes are
mm,
used to
mhm.
like gripping the Zori when we're walking and like when you're going
Yeah, yeah.
uphill and you're slipping and sliding in the mud. Like our feet are trained to like be that strong, and so it translates
Mhm.
very naturally into climbing when you're trying to get your toes to put pressure down on like these really tiny
Mm,
footholds and you're trying to be really delicate with it. Like our feet are
yeah.
like really built for that, like naturally. So like
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's like our secret weapon is just wearing Zori our whole
Just yeah,
lives.
wear Zori all the time and you'll prime yourself. Yeah, I've been kind of going down the rabbit hole of like fitness and things. One of the things I've started really incorporating a lot is barefoot shoes. And I
Mm,
remember back in the day, they had like the five, finger toe shoes like the Vibrams, which made people kind
hmm,
of, look a little weird. But now they have so many, brands and one of the ones I love using is a brand called Vivo Barefoot. And
hmm,
they have so many really cool shoes. I got some like workout shoes from them, and I also got some just more casual stuff. But I wear it almost exclusively, and my like foot strength has gotten so much better. I've also been doing some other things, that have helped too. But um, just learning about like foot strength and just foot health in general, it's crazy what shoes like modern shoes have done just because of limiting that ability to really splay your toes and things like that.
hmm.
But to that, when I did go to the climbing gym or the bouldering gym last year and we had to put on the shoes, dude, they are so narrow and like they're like you it's not like regular shoes because you have to make sure there's like no room after your toes. Like you have to really and I'm like, dude, this
Hmm.
hurts. And so I think part of for me, I'm not an experienced climber, but that day, besides the grip, my toes were hurting, dude. So that's something that to be able to do all that, is definitely it's definitely impressive, man.
Yeah, well, I don't, there's a whole sort of uh, I don't know, expectation in the climbing community that your toes have to
Mhm,
be really snug and tight, and you have to downsize
mhm,
your shoe like 2 or 3 shoe sizes to get a good fit. I don't subscribe to that kind of thinking. Your feet should be
mhm,
comfortable, like a nice like
mhm,
it shouldn't your toes shouldn't be stacked on each other like that. Like a nice comfortable
mm,
flat like climbing shouldn't hurt your feet. Like that's how I
mm,
try to
mhm.
think of it. Like I don't downsize my climbing shoes like at all really. I pretty much wear my street shoe size.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I think it's also a thing for like younger climbers because or like new climbers. If you're coming into it for the first time and you're like, I don't want to do this ever again, my feet freaking hurt, then they're not going to come
Yeah.
back to the gym and they're not going to, be a part of the community. So like
Mhm.
I don't preach the downsize to your feet or like, you know, compressed in a
Yeah,
little like
yeah, yeah.
nub or whatever. So next time you
Yeah,
go,
basically the
just size up your
opposite
shoes a little
of
bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool. Yeah, we might make another trip, this year. I mean, my daughter Kylie, I don't know if you remember her, what do you call it?
Yeah.
But, she's 11 now, and when
Ah,
we had gone, like, the 3 of us went, my wife Jazz, Kylie, and then myself, and dude, she took at it like it was nobody's business. She was just going up
bruh.
and like we were
Bruh.
it's one of those things where like cuz like as a kid, you're obviously you're curious and you just, you want to kind of climb
Mhm.
and nothing's really scary. It's more of like when kind of the adults tell you like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, too high," right? Kind of thing that
Right,
you're like,
right.
"Oh, I shouldn't do this." And we were cheering her on, dude. We were like, obviously be careful, but like, dude, have at it. And she loved it. She was like, "Can we go again?" And I was like, "We got like I think one more day we can go, but let's you space it out a bit." You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh,
But
you
dude,
hit the nail on the head. Like I know so
mhm,
many people like middle school, high school that are like so much better at climbing than me. And it's
mhm,
the fearlessness that kids have. It's like that part of the brain that tells you that, don't do this, not safe. Like that adventurous
mhm,
part of like a kid's brain, I like really helps them excel at climbing. It's really beautiful to see. And like 'cause so much of hard higher level climbing is getting your body to execute what your mind is telling you you can't do or you shouldn't do. It's like
mhm,
high level climbing is trying to quiet that part of your mind that's telling you don't do this. And kids, like, they're not even listening to that. They have that voice on mute.
yeah,
They're like, I want to go up there, like da 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 da. They're so
yeah,
fearless, and they could. And like, I wish I was that fearless sometimes, because I have a hard time turning that voice off in my head when I'm trying something that's really really hard. Um,
mhm.
so that yeah, kids take to it so naturally. Uh,
That's awesome, man. That's so, dude. So 11 years you've been climbing. That's
pretty
impressive.
much, pretty
Um,
much.
Yeah. What has been the most challenging thing to learn or the most challenging thing in terms of climbing for you?
I think the most challenging thing is really making time for it. I just,
Mm,
my life is just so full and so busy, and I'm trying to like retrain my brain instead of saying like I don't have time to do XYZ. I'm trying to tell myself I
mm,
don't make time to do XYZ,
mm, mhm,
and protecting time to go and do that is sometimes really hard, and because like your body has to be in the right sort of mode to go climbing, your brain has to be in the right
mhm,
like headspace, and with just like the day to day flows of life and things that pop up, it's hard for me to protect that time to go climbing, especially
mhm,
given how safe and rejuvenating it is for me to have that space that I can go back to. Like I
mhm,
haven't climbed in like a month, like which is very unusual for me. In a perfect
mhm,
world, I'll be climbing like every other day, maybe every couple days. Like in a perfect world,
mhm.
that's how often I would be going. But I haven't been in like a month. And that's just like my soul is like, you need to go. You need to get a sesh
Yeah.
in. So next week for sure, I'm bringing some new
There we
people
go.
and we're gonna go climbing.
Hell
And I was
yeah.
like, I need this.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, show them your bat hangs. You know what I mean? That'll be
Yeah.
sick.
Well,
That'll
hopefully they have some bat hangs set at the gym so we can try some of
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But we'll see.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Do you do anything else in terms of like fitness and stuff, or is it just mainly like the climbing?
It's all climbing. I don't do any
All
weight
climbing.
training, no cardio. Anything physical activity wise, I'd either do
Mhm.
it at GSC when I'm like in the dirt working,
Yeah.
or if I'm on the climbing wall. That's where all my physical activity comes from. So,
Nice, dude.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Man, it's something I hope to see more of what you post and stuff. And yeah, when I kind of rejoined, social media for the podcast and all that, and I was just kind of, reconnecting with people, I saw what you were up to and I was like, "Holy cow." Like you're no joke, dude. You're like legit. And then when I saw that bat hang, I was like, "How is that even a move?" You know what I mean? And I was like, "What the hell is that?" I was like some Dracula shit. Like, what the hell? But
Kellen
dude, I will
Finihi,
say, yeah, yeah, exactly. You should actually name it the Fanihi Hang
the
instead of the
Finihi
Bat
hang.
Hang.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, especially for the gym on Guam. Yeah, can I get a little Fanihi Hang? Um, dude, that's solid. All right, let me ask you this: what
Mhm.
does a perfect day look like to you?
A perfect day in a perfect world. I would wake up with the sunrise. I would smoke a quick bowl, get my hot coffee, work on a puzzle, read a book. I always carry two books on me, one that I keep by my bed, and then one that I keep in my like daily backpack. So I'll pick one of those up, start reading from it.
Mhm,
That's my like perfect morning, like a nice coffee with a book, puzzle. Um, and then I love being outdoors. So some part of my day, I have to be touching dirt or outside or
mhm.
in nature. Just like I need, planting fruit trees or something, like I need to be outdoors with the land. A perfect day would also include a minimum like 3 hour climbing sesh. Like I need like
Minimum,
minimum
okay,
three to like
okay.
try all the things that I want to try. It's a project of
Yeah,
really hard
that's if you're
fun.
pressed for time, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, like which I never make that kind of time to get 3 hours in there. I normally
Mhm.
settling for like half that at best, but on a perfect day, I can climb for 3, 4 hours, like no problem. Like that's
That's nuts,
perfect
dude.
for me. Um, and then when that's over, I'd like to go outside and like lay under the moon, the stars.
Mhm.
I have a few spots here on the island that I like to go to and just like lay in the grass and like stare up at the sky.
Yeah.
It feels, it feels really connecting. And like when I look up at the stars, I like to think about like, this is what our ancestors saw when they were navigating their way to the Marianas. There's something about
Mhm.
the moon and the stars that connects with our ancestors in a really deep way. So I love stargazing. Um, a really thick dinner, probably sushi. It has to be sushi. Yeah. I normally skip breakfast.
Mhm.
I'll eat like a light lunch. I'll snack through lunch, but dinner's got to be thick. So like take me to like
Yeah.
Belt Sushi and we'll stack those plates, chalu.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
that and then reading a book before bed,
Mhm.
and then my cat laying on my chest as I'm falling asleep. That's a perfect day in the
Solid,
life
dude.
for me.
Yeah, that is a beautiful answer. I noticed you didn't include your Wordle. So I'm
Oh,
just gonna assume
well,
you forgot because I know
I'm
you've
upset
been
about
doing that
that
for a
because I snapped my Wordle streak yesterday because I was camping last night and my whole morning routine was just thrown for a loop and I was like, "Oh no, I didn't do my Wordle yesterday. My streak is over. I'm so upset with myself." Ah.
yeah. What's the longest dude, you're so committed to the things you do. It's insane. What's the longest what is the longest streak Wordle streak you've ever had?
My longest streak was 146 days and I just snapped a 21-day streak. And so it's
Jeez, dude.
always something that like I'm my bowel movement pretty regular. I poop every
Mhm.
morning and so I wordle and I poop. That's just like
Yeah.
that's every morning for me. But if there's any sort of disruption to that flow, my wordle
Mhm.
streak is in jeopardy if I don't remember. Like, I don't know if Wordle
Mm.
can like send you a notification, be like, "Hey, dummy, do your Wordle before the day's over."
Hey, don't
Like that
forget.
would,
I'm pretty sure you
yeah.
can. Yeah.
Maybe I just
Yeah.
have all my notifications turned off. Like I keep all my notifications
Yeah.
off.
Hmm.
But maybe I should turn that back on because I lost my streak and I'm very
That's
sad about
important.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude. So,
Priorities.
so, so today is day one, right?
Today is day one. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. And you said
Do you
146.
do you Wordle?
I, do you wordle like a true wordler? I I did for a bit. My wife and I, Jazz, we would kind of do that. We would always ask like, "Did you do Wordle?" And I'm sure everybody was like that. Um, I got a thing for not being on my phone. I hate being on my phone,
Same.
and regardless of what it's for, right? If it's productive, right, stuff, or if it's just brain rotting and doom scrolling, I don't like either of that, right? I try to really
Mm,
keep it to minimum. But yeah, we were doing Wordle. I think it was like last year or something like that. But we had the app, the New York Times app, and
yep.
so we would do Wordle. We would do was it connections, and
I hate
then
connections.
dude, connections. Sometimes connections makes no sense,
No
and we're
sense.
like, yeah, and we're like, that's not even a real category. Like that shouldn't be a thing. Like you could see all the more obvious things, and I think that's what they try to do
Right.
is they bait you of like, here are four things that clearly make sense. Nope, not even in the
Nope.
same category at
Not
all.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They shouldn't call it connections. They should call it nope.
Nope.
But yeah, then we would do one of the other things. I forgot what it was called.
Oh
And we would race each other on it. And I always had
boy.
my starting word, and so did she. But yeah, we'd always try to like see how we would do it. I wasn't as
Mhm.
committed though to doing like a 146-day streak. I think my longest was probably like maybe 4 days, and then I would just forget
Ah!
about it. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not a wordler. Like, I am just like the climbing thing, man. I've dipped my toe a bit, and I'm like, this ain't for me. I think if it was more of like a physical thing, like if I had like a whole like book, like how they have like
Mhm,
crossword books, I'd
mhm,
probably get more into it. If I could go analog with it, I'd be more down. But yeah,
mhm.
it's just one of those things. I remember when it first came out though, where people were like, don't you dare tell me what the word is. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
And
Oh
people would
yeah.
like fight about it. It was one of those things where you couldn't say what the word is. I remember like a few years ago when I was kind of doing it more regularly, I had a coworker and he would do it too. And he's like, every morning we come into work, like, did you do it? You're like, yeah, what'd you get? And we would just kind of compare, you know what I mean? And it was
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
because I think so. My starting word was always could. For some reason, it just stuck with
Mm,
me. And his starting word was cloud. And so it was funny because if we knew that if we couldn't get it on the first, like several, we are like, that's not the word. Don't use that word.
right,
But
right,
yeah, dude,
right.
it's nuts that you are heavily invested in these things in minimum 3 hour climbing,
I
146 Wordle streak.
I don't know if it's because I'm an Aries sun, but like whatever I choose to commit to, I'm super passionate about. So I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna have something in my life, like I'm about it, you know?
Nice. I will admit I have no clue what an Aries sun is. The thing that comes to mind is your parents were an Aries. So
I'll
like
just
are you a
stop there.
product of it?
I
There you
I
go.
only
Okay.
know what my signs mean for me. Don't like I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
tell you what any of the other signs mean for anybody else. Like I'm
There
not
you
an
go.
astrology girly at all. But
Yeah.
I know what it means for me. I know how it looks like for me, so I can name that, but
Okay.
I can't go any deeper.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the most I know is that I'm a Leo and my wife is a Sagittarius, but I have no clue what those mean.
I don't know what that means for
Um
you. Sorry, can't help you.
There you go. No, it's fine. It's fine. I think for me it's nice that people are very fascinated, but again, it's not for me. It's not my thing.
Word.
But dude, that's awesome. So we got all the great work you're doing with GSC, obviously independent Guåhan, the climbing, the perfect day, dude, amazing. I love that you mentioned all those things, and a lot of it is really rooted in really kind of what you're doing now, right? And being outside, maybe the climbing more frequently would be a thing. So to expand on that answer or that question rather, what does a good life look like to you?
Mm. This was probably the most interesting question to chew on because there's so many different ways you
Mhm,
can take it. And so I had like, I don't know. Well, I think one way to answer what does a good life look like is to live every day as if you're trying to be a good ancestor. With everything, all the choices that come, all the decisions you make, what you choose to invest in, not invest in, how can you live as a good ancestor? And I think if on your deathbed you can look back on your life and say, yeah, like I did everything I could to be a good ancestor to the generations that are rising behind me, that's a good
mhm.
life, whatever that looks like to you. Um, and I think a more individual way and kind of tied to that too, but I really truly believe in service as inafamaulik. And inafamaulik for the uneducated or unknown listeners out there, inafamaulik means to make good for each other, to provide for each other, to support each other, to make things good for you and for everybody. And I find a lot of purpose and meaning in getting to do that work for community, however community is defined, whether that's climbing, whether that's the agriculture community or the decolonization movement. I enjoy helping other people and doing for others. And so to me, a good life is one spent filling up other people's cups, understanding that that is inafamalik is reciprocal and that the people that I am pouring into are also pouring into me. And so, that is to me is a good life, is being a good ancestor, pouring into other people's cups so that they can fill you up too, and we just bounce it back and forth.
Dude, that is an amazing, beautiful answer, man. The whole take, the fact that you were even able to say like, there's like one answer and there's kind of another one is amazing. And then I love your take on, being a good ancestor, right? Because it takes kind of the I out of, the family piece, right? And it's like
Mhm.
it's not just about because yeah, like you think that it's such a loaded question, and a lot of these questions are, and that's kind of the point of the show. But it's amazing that there's like your first thing is how can I be of service or how can I leave you know this place better than how I found it, right? And you're
Mhm.
looking out for others, the generations ahead, and you're not just looking out for yourself. So, dude, that I think that answer is with everything you're doing, it lines up perfectly. So
Yeah, send them
beautiful,
off.
beautiful answer, man.
You know,
Yeah.
I've never been someone who's cared about being rich and wealthy. I've never cared about like a legacy for myself. Like I've never cared about those kinds of things. And to me, it's like
Mhm.
what is wealth worth if you're not spending it on people that you love and are in community with, you know? It's like if you're not
Mhm.
spending your energy, your capacity in helping other people, then like, what is that even, worth? So like I've never been that kind of person that can just like tune out, like take care of myself and just like leave it at that. Like that's not a good life for someone like me. Like I feel like I
Mhm.
know myself now better than I ever have, and I know that for sure about me. Like if I'm not helping or paying the work forward in some way, shape, or form, I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so it's just that's how I try to move through my life now.
Love it, dude. Love it. That's something that man, I've no words, man, no notes. It's such a good answer, dude. It's such a good answer. Um,
Uh,
yeah, dude. I love your just your way of thinking. I love your energy, right? The vibes you bring and stuff like that. Those are awesome. And dude, it's crazy. It's crazy knowing you for how long I've known you, even though for, like a decade, basically, we were sort of removed from each other's lives, right? Being out here
mhm.
and me being on Guam, and now it's switched. But from, what was it? Yeah, middle school at Agata to high school at GW, like
Uh,
I remember, dude, we were just talking about like middle school, high school us, and I remember playing, our ukulele, you, me, and Joe
yeah, under the
Mendiola.
tree in the
Yep,
schoolyard, you,
yep.
me, Joe Mendiola. Shout out to Fluffy Kazafa.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. It's but just that. that kid, and I've always been, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I've always been jealous of your hair. You had like
I'm
the
growing it out again.
coolest.
I'm wearing a bun.
Yeah, dude, I see
Yeah.
that. I see that. It's sick. But I remember always seeing you and being like, dude, guy's got great hair, great head of hair. But like just knowing, so that was kind of a side thing, but just knowing you for this long and then just reconnecting and now we're in our 30s. And so the sort of the insight you bring into these worlds you're involved in, right? But then also just the look you have, the kind of, I guess, the mindset and just perspective you have on life, man. It's wonderful, and it's been a pleasure to hear all that. One final question:
Okay.
what do you want to do before you die?
I have a list. Can I share a list?
Please do.
Okay, okay. In no particular order, before I die, I want to at least climb V11 indoors.
Okay.
That's one goal. I've been plateaued at V8 for the last, I don't know, year or so, and I
Mhm.
really want to push beyond that boundary and invest time into climbing enough where I can climb V11 inside. Um, Another thing I want to do before I die is play the World Series of Poker at least one time in Vegas. I Poker has
Okay,
been
dude.
probably like the most consistent like hobby in my life. I didn't include it in my perfect day, so I want to
Mhm.
revise that and add a poker night in there.
Gotcha.
Um,
There you go.
but I feel like I was playing poker before I could even do math. Like since like elementary school, I've been like playing with my cousins, while the adults are outside playing for, their change, penny
Mhm.
games. It's always been a part of my life, and I want to one day have a little bit of wealth, enough wealth where I can go and play this like $10,000 buy-in tournament and just see how things go. I'm not
Yeah.
anywhere near that now, but one day before I die, I would
One.
like to do
Yeah.
that. Um, Another thing I want to do before I die is to travel to all the islands of the Marianas. Just a couple weeks ago, I made my first trip to Luta, and it was one of the most magical and meaningful experiences of my life. And I felt a little bit ashamed that, Luta is our closest sister island, and I lived my whole life here on Guåhan and had never been there before. Um,
Mhm.
it's such a magical, special place, and really instilled in me the importance of building more interdependency across the Marianas and building stronger community across the
Mhm.
Marianas. Because I'm sure you remember growing up here, like there was so much stigma, and like some like weird vibes around like, oh, you're from the Northern Islands or you're from Guam, and
Yeah.
like there's like this
Mhm.
weird
Like this
divide between
divide.
our people.
Yep.
Yeah, which I never understood because my family is from Saipan. I lived in Saipan, and like I thought we were all one family, happy hunky dory, and then I learned all this
Mhm.
history about why we're so divided, and so healing that is one of the things I want to do before I die, and traveling the Marianas to actually be on the Northern Islands, all the Northern Islands is something I want to do.
Mhm.
Um, and then in my lifetime, before I die, I want to see the sun rise over an independent Guahan. Like I'm 30, I'm turning 31 this year. I want kids of my own, and I
Mhm.
wouldn't feel good about bringing them up in anything less than an independent Guahan. And um, I have in so many different ways committed my life to that work. Like this work is
Mhm.
worth fighting for, worth dying for, and I want to see the sun rise over an independent Guahan before I die.
I love that. Dude, that's such a beautiful way to not only like end the well, sort of bring the show in, but then also to just end the question or like answer the question, right? Of you do, all this of V11, poker, right? Traveling to see all the Mariana Islands and then ending it with an independent Guahan, right? We've talked about coming full circle many times, today. And
Mhm.
that's one thing that you would come full circle with your answer and all that. So, dude, that's a hell of a list. I do think it's all possible. I don't know about the poker thing. That's nuts. I mean,
I
I'm
don't know if
not to
I'll
say that
ever have
you
that kind of wealth, but maybe
yeah, yeah.
someone can sponsor me and I'll
For
go
someone who's
play
not
for their money.
concerned, yeah, for somebody who's not too concerned with wealth, it's not that you're not concerned with wealth. You know what I mean? Like I care a little
Yeah,
bit, right?
I care a little bit. I like to be
Just yeah,
comfortable. I have
yeah,
needs too,
yeah.
like
When I say live off the land, I still kind of mean in a house. You know what I mean? So, uh,
exactly. Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, no, it's dude, it's awesome. I do want to ask the V11 because I know that pertains to climbing, to bouldering. Is that
Mhm.
the like the highest level?
So when you're using the V scale, there really is no cap. So the highest V
Oh,
grade
jeez.
is whatever the hardest outdoor boulder is, which I think is like V 16 or 17 is like the hardest outdoor bouldering uh climb. Most commercial gyms, and this varies, like obviously, but most gyms will set up to V10, V11, V12,
Mm,
depending on how deep your climbing community is. If you were to go to a place like Japan, like they're probably setting like V13, 14, 15 inside their gyms
mhm.
because they're like that freaking
That
good.
level, yeah.
They're at that level. For Guåhan and our climbing community here, there might be one V10 on the wall, maybe one V9, occasionally a V11,
Mhm.
on the wall. So that's kind of the current ceiling indoors now for our community, and I wanna get to that point. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That is crazy that the fact that you're even like if you're using the V scale, like imagining then that there's more than just the V scale in terms
There's
of
so many different
bouldering.
ways to categorize climbing.
Dude,
Yeah, there's a whole French system, and yeah, it's
okay.
all convoluted. Yeah.
Damn. Well, that just goes to show just how popular, how deep the community really goes, and the fact that
Mhm.
you've been doing it for the last 10 years is and then 146 Wordle streak. I think I keep bringing that up because I'm somewhat jealous.
Well, I hope I inspire you to get back into Wordle, and I don't know what your
Yeah,
daily routine is, but work it in there. Make it a habit, and then you won't
but
miss
yeah,
it.
it's not that I don't have the time; it's that I don't make the time. Right, like you said, to your
Yeah,
point.
there you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
No, it's funny. It's funny because part of me is like, dude, 146. That's a hell of a long time to commit. I mean, granted, you're only playing one game a day, but the fact they're showing up that much, and then part of me just to troll you is like, well, it's not 147, so it's not it's not that impressive.
uh,
It's all right. You know what I mean?
every
It's
time I try to
but
build up to that number, I knock myself
yeah.
down. I'm like, why did shame,
Dude,
shame.
wait, let me ask you then. I don't know what's my fixation on Wordle right now, but what
Go for it.
is from 146 being your highest, what came second?
Ooh, I think it was 30 something. That's where I tend
Mm,
to
okay.
sort of fall off again, like
Fall off a bit.
2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. I start to like something will happen. Like
Yeah,
yesterday I was camping. The last
camping.
time I broke my streak, I was hunting. And so like I was
Oh
out
damn.
early in the morning and I was just like,
Mm,
oh, I forgot to do my Wordle. So anything
yeah,
that disrupts my morning routine, I'm like, I'm liable to lose my streak. Yeah.
dude. Well, it's good that those are the reasons why you lost it. You know what I mean? You're actually out doing stuff that's, way more like time consuming and just, than being on your phone on the toilet. But dude, gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous answers. Man, this has been one hell of a conversation. I feel like I've gotten to know you even more, you know what I mean, than just
Mhm.
being classmates and friends at school. Um, Dude, I want to say, I really hope you've enjoyed your stay. Before we kind of wrap things up, though, I want to ask what do you got going on in the upcoming stuff with like GSC and Independent Guan and even just climbing in general? What do you got going on?
Yeah, so on the independent Guåhan side, yesterday we celebrated Tumaiguini, which is the first month of the Chamorro Lunar New Year. For the last 12 years, a group of community organizations have hosted what's called Lukau Fua, and it's a kind of a ceremonial procession hike down to Fua Rock, La Sofua, which is the site of creation in Chamorro mythology. And we got to celebrate that yesterday. We had over 100 people come out, a lot of youth, a lot of nennies joining us yesterday. So I'm sort of basking in the afterglow of that work. For GSV, we've got, oh my gosh, so many different things going on. We're trying to train people how to hunt, because we got a wild pig problem here on the island. You talk to any local farmer, they'll tell you the number one challenge they're facing is wild pigs getting into their
Getting
farms.
into everything. Yep.
And so we're trying to train more responsible hunters in the community that can help depredate these pigs from these different properties. So that's one thing that's really exciting. I mentioned earlier we're going to be upgrading our commercial scale, cooperatively run community kitchen. So that's something that I'm really excited for, to support local agriculture, because that's a need, a really critical need that we have here, especially in southern Guåhan, where there's not a lot of those kinds of resources, really anywhere on the island, but especially
Mm.
in southern Guåhan needs that kind of investment. Um, and on the climbing side, I just need to go climbing. It's been too long. It's been a month. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you what's going on. I hadn't been tapped into the
Mhm.
community. So maybe there's a competition coming up. I'll join that if there is, but I just need to get on the wall and start climbing.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, man, again, dude, it's been awesome talking to you. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show. The fact that you even agreed to doing this. So thank you for coming on the show. I hope you've enjoyed your stay. And with that, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. So,
Awesome.
Josh, Chelu, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
My my guy Maasi Cello. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right. Thank you, everybody.